Discuss this, the first part of this very important issue. We've been joined by Fahim Sardar Saab. He's a senior policy specialist and he belongs to the National Security Division at the Government of Pakistan. Fahim Saab, thank you very much to have joined us. Pleasure to have you here after a very long time for our show. You've come to other shows. Let's begin with the achievements on the economic, on the diplomatic front that Pakistan has had. Some of those were highlighted in the interview that our Premier gave to the Al Arabiya channel very recently. Let's talk about the Geneva mood. Let's talk about COP27, and let's talk about how this current government highlighted the effects of climate change and how it brought about this global fund for all the developing countries, including Pakistan. How, in your point of view, has Pakistan's global presence amplified under the current government?
Thank you for having me. I think it's very important for us to understand that the government has been pushing very hard on these major issues, let's start with climate, as you mentioned. We have been supported very aggressively, very heavily, very assiduously by the United Nations. We have to keep that in mind. The United Nations felt the pain of what Pakistan had to go through in these floods. And the Secretary General of the United Nations, he said at the Geneva meet, he said that Pakistan contributes practically nothing to the global carbon emissions, and yet it is one of the most affected. So having said that, the government has been extremely persistent in reminding the world of its duty, of its obligation to helping countries that have been affected by their actions. We are we're at the forefront of a climate war, so to speak, against things like erosion, flooding, loss of life, loss of wealth. I mean, we are trying to predict what will happen in the next quarter. But anyway, the government has been successful in getting support from the international community. And although that's not exactly as much as what we lost, but still it's support nonetheless. That will, of course, help Pakistan kickstart the restructuring process. But we have to obviously link that with the economy. The economy, because I mean, it's much easier if you link everything with the economy, make it an economic act. And I think the government will definitely do that, turn it into an economic act. That sort of helps the multiplier kick in.
Let's talk of those countries who've been at the forefront of helping Pakistan when it needed help the most. Let's begin with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, that has hinted at increasing the investment in Pakistan to 10 billion and has also retained the money that it had given in Pakistan. It has rolled over the amount that was present here. How much does that contribute, in your point of view, in strengthening the baseline of Pakistani economy?
Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, well, I mean, I think we need a conference to discuss the relationship because it's been a brotherly relationship ever since Pakistan was
created. Has the government strategy worked in your point of view?
I think it has. I think it has, and more will be done as we move along, because Saudi Arabia is also going through a process of realization of who has helped Saudi in difficult times. They've had some tough situations come up. Pakistan has stood by them, and Saudi Arabia standing by Pakistan. Saudi Arabia's investments in Pakistan will yield double to triple digit returns, which is one of the highest on earth. We have to understand that it's not just going to be something that they give us or they're actually going to make money out of this. Let us go back to one of my former employers. It's Saudi Pak Investment Company. That was the first DFI made by Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. Then you've got other DFIs. The DFI between Saudi and Pakistan has helped build projects in Pakistan. So if Saudi Arabia is going to increase its investments in Pakistan, it's actually doing not only us a favor, and it's not only helping our investment community, it's also helping itself. And this basically strengthens the relationships that we have, enjoyed for a very long time.
All right. But it's not just the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Al Arabiya, during the interview with the channel Al Arabiya, our Premier also highlighted how the UAE has stood by Pakistan and how the UAE has again, given money to Pakistan as loan. And then, of course, the fact remains that there's a huge number of Pakistani expatriates working in the UAE as well, which consider the country as its second home. You talk about, we just highlighted a little bit about the 10 billion investment in Pakistan and the UAE and the expatriate. How can Pakistan change all of this into an outcome that could be beneficial for all the partners concerned?
Well, I think if you make it more, and I'm sorry for flogging a dead horse, but if you make it more economic, if you make it
All right.
economically beneficial for both sides.
Fahim Saab, we will be continuing with our conversation, but we have to go to a short break. Stay tuned.
Sure.
Welcome back, and we are discussing the impact of the interview that our Premier Shehbaz Sharif Saab gave to Al Arabiya and the different formalities and modalities that he discussed during the course of the interview. We are highlighting his relationship, his country's relationship with the Gulf countries, including the United Arab Emirates, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and other important countries, and how he wants to further bolster this relationship into a strategic one. We are in the studios with Fahim Sardar Saab. He's a senior policy specialist and economist, and he also belongs to the National Security Division at the Government of Pakistan. Fahim Saab, thank you very much and welcome back. Fahim Saab, we were discussing about the UAE, we were discussing about the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and how the loans that have been given, the investment that is probably coming from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia can be turned into an outcome that could be beneficial for all parties concerned.
Thank you. Again, it can become beneficial for all parties concerned when there is some economics attached to it. If the Saudis invest, if the Emiratis invest in Pakistan, it should give them some profit. And conversely, their investment helps the Pakistan economy. So trying to really come down to the molecular level, we just have to keep it simple, and we have to ensure that their money comes in without too much of trouble, because there are some details that sometimes create issues like hurdles and red tapeism at times.
Bottlenecks.
Yes, and that can be catered for. To be honest, it's been catered for in the past as well. It's nothing new, but we just have to ensure that we're able to talk to them. We're able to bring them into their interested sectors. By the way, the Board of Investment has done a pretty good job of identifying which sectors have which opportunities. So it's not like we're just starting from scratch. Actually, we've already done the homework. We just need to sort of help them ease them in to the various sectors that they're interested in. But having said that, it has to be beneficial for everyone. It has to be a win-win situation for everyone, and that will be when it turns into a profit. And
you say it needs to be turned into a profit, but looking at the current diplomatic arena and how Pakistan has been successfully campaigning for its country's cause, whether it be in the Gulf countries, whether it be in other different formats, whether it be at the Geneva mood, whether it be at COP27, do you feel that the coalition government is properly capitalizing on Pakistan's diplomatic capital in order to navigate the economic challenges that it is confronted with?
I think so, because the government is, as I said earlier, very aggressively and persistently pursuing these aspects. There are issues. We've just come out of a flood, a horrible flood, as it was referred to as by the Secretary General, as it was called, I think, monsoon on steroids or something like that. We've just come out of a really.
We're still not really out of it. We still have a lot of people who are still affected by this.
I stand corrected. So the point is that we've been reeling from that problem, but that does not mean we're not able to recover. We just need that is what's called as bridge financing right now. So this investment, these loans, will help us bridge finance what we were doing earlier, because the economy had picked up earlier. Had it not been for the floods, we would have been actually moving in a pretty in a decent way towards more growth. But we've had some force majeure issues that caused this delay. The government has pushed very hard to make the global community understand what Pakistan needs and what their responsibility is. Pakistan has been extremely firm on this issue. That's the main point.
All right. For him also, what I'd like to understand is there was a lot of talk about Charter of Economy, of all the stakeholders coming together as one to put Pakistan out of the current crisis. Despite the negative reaction that has come from the current opposition, do you feel a time could come when all the parties concerned could come together on one front in order to help Pakistan strengthen itself economically?
No, I think that's a very important question. I've had the privilege of working on the Charter of Economy with the National Security Division. So I've created a basic understanding of that. The answer to your question is an emphatic yes, because it's becoming inevitable. It should have been done perhaps some time ago, but let bygones be bygones. everyone is ready to now converge to this point. Right now, yes, we've got some internal stuff, political aspects coming here and going there, but the bottom line is the whole country is in agreement to a strategic point. We've done this in the past, that we've built projects when we decided that it was strategically important for the country. Whenever we take that decision, which I think we are about to take that decision, it will be done.
Thank you so very much, Fahim Siddar, economist, senior policy specialist at the National Security Division at the Government of Pakistan, to have highlighted the different aspects of how Pakistan is moving forward in order to strengthen itself economically, and how the relationship with the Gulf countries, as has been enunciated by a premier while talking to Al Arabia, is a very important a point, or a very important point in that very direction, to help Pakistan come out of its crisis and strengthen itself. Let's hope the coming weeks and months prove to be very beneficial.